Okay, to kick us off today, we're going to start with one of the dishes that you might see on our New Year's Eve menus, or you might see it down in Newbridge or Steak on Six. So we've gone back to the Sika loin, which again is a very small loin, this one, dark in colour and quite gamey. It is a gamier, stronger flavour. Later on, we'll be cooking sausages out of the offcuts of it. So we'll come back to that later. First thing we're going to do is our quince. So we're going to cut the quince down like so. And simply just core the quince. The quince is similar to a pear, but a lot woodier. You can take out the skin if you like. For me, I think it adds just texture to it. So we're going to keep the skin on. And these take a little bit of cooking, so we're going to get them straight into the pan. So here we've got a stock syrup with a bay leaf, some star anise, sugar and water. So place those in, and they're just going to cook as we do everything else. So the second part we're going to do is pumpkin. We've just got a small pumpkin here. We've taken quarters out of it, quartered it again and again, taken the seeds out just so you've got this flat edge. This flat edge is going to be key for later because we're going to put a crust on it, a hazelnut crust. So we've got our pan heating here, and we're just going to pan fry the pumpkin. So we want a nice hot pan, pumpkin goes in, and we want some colour on either side to get the caramelisation. So as I say, the pumpkin we're going to cook now. We're going to add a little bit of chicken stock, a little bit of butter, and bake it through the oven. It'll take about 10 minutes. Then we're just going to finish it with a crust. But before the crust goes on, I've got a solution of equal quantities of malt vinegar and maple syrup. Once this comes off, I'm going to boil that up so it intensifies the heat, brings the sweetness and the sour together, brush it over, and then put the hazelnut on it. I'm going to put a little bit of sage on there as well through the crust, and it just is a perfect accompaniment to what we've got. So you can see already it's starting to colour. Pumpkin is quite delicate, as in it's very hard to get it from soft to having a bite. So with this one, it will probably take 10 minutes and then I pull it out. So you can see that lovely crust there now already on it. That's what we're looking for. This is all the caramelisation coming out. So, keep those cooking. We've got our quince cooking now as well. That's coming lovely. We're just going to add a touch of chicken stock. This is going to smoke a little bit. You can use veg stock. You can use water if you're not really into cooking with chicken stock. For me, I love it. We've got a cinnamon stick, we've got a rosemary, we've got a bit of garlic. That is as simple as that's going to be. When it comes out, we'll finish it with the hazelnut crust. But for now, we're just going to put that into an oven, 180 degrees for about 10 minutes. So we've got the Sika now. We're just going to sear the loin. Again, the loin is a prime cut, so this is, really luxurious. This dish, I think, really does it honour. We're going to put it into a pan. Again, I don't put oil into the pan too much. I let it sear. I put it onto the meat itself, then put it in. If you want to add a little bit more, you can. Okay, so the loin already, you can see, is starting to cook either side. We've got that lovely caramelisation. You can feel the crisp there. We're just going to sear that. We'll probably put that one over a little bit more on that side, because as I say, that caramelisation's all flavour. So, again, this dish, there's no calorie counting. It's a big dish. So, we've got butter in there now, and as I say, I'm just going to pull that off onto the side and let it cook through in the pan, okay? If it is a little bit rare for you, you can put it through the oven, but I think on this sort of size of meat, sealing it, leaving it there to cool and rest, it'll be cooked perfect. Okay, so now our pumpkin's come out the oven, nice and soft. We're gonna take it out, lay it down. We can discard this now, we don't need it. Then I've got a solution of maple syrup and vinegar, equal quantities. And we're just going to boil that up. This will be our glue to make sure everything sticks. So you can see that straight away. Just brush the pumpkin with it. Give it a generous amount. Then we've got our hazelnut crust here, so we've just toasted off some hazelnuts, peeled them, crushed them down, and just banged them in a pestle and mortar. We just added some chopped sage to that, and just sprinkle that on top. This can then go back through the oven if you want it. It can be put under the grill for a little bit, or just left under the lights if you've got some. So that'll be ready for serving later. So we're gonna pull the dish together now. The last part is got some sprout leaves, really good, perfect. We've already got the red cabbage on the dish anyway, so we're just gonna drop them into some seasoned water. It's got a tiny bit of butter in it. Our quince is now ready, so that's cooked through. We're just gonna place it ready for serving. In the restaurants, we dish up everything on the tray. We use the blue cloth so it absorbs all the drips, and then you know what's going on each dish. Sprouts, that's all it needs. We want them crunchy. It's just to take a little bit of the bite off. And then we're about ready to dish. So we've got some parsnip puree, which we've just taken one parsnip, about 200 grams, 200 millilitres of milk and about 50 grams of butter. We've sweated the parsnips down in the butter, added the milk. If you need a bit more, it's really simple just to add a bit more as you go. So we're just going to do very honest piece of parsnip puree. When you peel the parsnips, if you deep fry the peels, you can get some really nice crisps with it as well. We've got some braised red cabbage, which is basically mulled, so we've done it in some red wine, some vinegar, a little bit of apple juice. The recipes will all be available. So we're just going to put a little bit of the red cabbage. So you get a sort of sweet and sourness to the cabbage. We've got now the pumpkin with the hazelnut crust. We've got our lovely venison there, which again, we've got our braised quince, and then some really nice sprout leaves. And then to finish it off, we've got our venison jus. And what I've done with this is just sorted off a few wild mushrooms in it, so it gives it a really earthy flavour. So just over the top there. And there we go. So this is our Sika loin with roast pumpkin, hazelnut crust, sprout leaves, quince, wild mushroom jus, and parsnip puree.